Hey, friends. So the reality is sometimes our house just gets messy. And it doesn't happen all on its own. The more we've been in it, the more we've been using it. And, especially those kids, it leads to things just falling out of order. And in the world of IT, we need to be thinking about the same thing. Sometimes over time, it's inevitable that things kind of fall out of order. And I want to talk about one of the most important things that you can be doing from a security hygiene perspective. It's this topic in security that we've been talking about for decades. It's called the principle of least privilege. See, it's this whole idea of let's clean things up. Let's make sure that we have access to as little as we need so that we can go about doing things the way that we need to do them in a secure way, but still allow us to operate. And there's really 5 reasons why principle of least privilege is so important. The first reason is simply this idea of enhanced security, right? Like this is how we clean up our own house. The more we limit access, the less attack vectors there may be. And I think that's a really important thing to think about because when we're talking about this idea of least privilege, what we want to do is go throughout our networks and say, where can we eliminate access where it just doesn't belong? So that's the first reason. The second reason is this. It eliminates the risk of human errors, right? So often breaches and threats of all kind happen at some point in the chain of events. A human gets involved. They open something, they click on something, they visit something, they install something. And because they do that thing that they should not have done because they were tricked into it, they didn't know better, whatever it may be, that human introduces something yucky. And so when we reduce the access of what that human has access to, we reduce the damages and potential collateral that comes out of those risks. And so principle of least privilege allows us to pull access away in a way that still allows our users to do what they need, but also protects and insulates not just themselves, but the business as a whole from the risk that they introduce just by being human. The third reason is obviously a pretty important one. Compliance requires it. The more we've seen cyber insurance and compliance frameworks and regulatory frameworks that are both statewide and nationwide, we're starting to see a big push towards least privilege. All banking regulations, just as an example, where I came out of, really focus on least privilege. And they ask at least once a year, if not multiple times a year, to do full audits through your systems to review access controls and ensure that people don't have things set up that they don't need. So, compliance and regulatory and cyber insurance requirements force it. Mandate it. That's the third reason. The fourth reason I want to talk about is just effective access management. See, it's this idea of, we should use granular controls to limit what people need to do. It's not an idea of saying, how do I take things away so that users can't get their job done? It's really this idea of, you know what? I've got granular controls. I've got the ability to limit some of these things, and I've got the technology in place to deliver and give them what they need when they need it. Well, let's leverage that. And by the way, there are modern tools out there that allow you to do that, to have effective access management. Take a look at us at CyberFox. We are helping solve that with privileged access management, giving you access to the things that you need when you need it. And it is very difficult to go down that journey on your own. The time savings and the security increase are well worth the cost of investing in a tool like that. The last thing that I'll say is the fifth is also the limitation of insider threat. Now, we realize that insider threat is not always something that organizations have to deal with. And typically, the smaller an organization, the less chance that insider threat is an issue. But it does happen. And it is a reason why we go and we look at principle of least privilege so that in the event of insider threat, of somebody intentionally leaking, stealing, selling information to somebody else, we can limit that from happening. And if it does happen again, we limit the blast radius of those damages because they just don't have the access that they might otherwise have. So there you have it. Those are 5 reasons why least privilege and implementing that in your organization is critical. It's all about securing your own house. Once again, if we can help you with that, take a look at what CyberFox is doing. Reach out to us, cyberfox.com. Let them know that Wes sent you, and we would love to start a conversation with you around all of this. All right, my friends, thank you so very much.